Hello, everyone. I'm so excited that I came in like 1 minute early. So I'm going to wait for y'all to come in, but I am excited and anxious about the conversation that we're about to have tonight. So come on in the house so that we can have a fantastic day. I am really happy and supportive and grateful. So, for those who you don't know, my name is Dr. Vanessa Guyton, and I am the proud founder and executive director of Hush No More. I'm also a survivor advocate. I'm a survivor of military sexual trauma, and that is why I started our organization. This is Hush No More's third season of being on our podcast. We were previously called Hush No More Champions, but I changed it because I felt like I needed to be more of a voice. I wanted to give my opinion. I wanted to be able to speak out. I wanted to be able to really decide to hush no more about the serious topics that are going on in our community. So that's what tonight is about. Some of you have seen the flyer, know what we're going to be talking about. I put the flyer in different organizations' chat box and emailed it out. And I also contacted survivors who wanted to come on tonight to share their voice. Hush No More, we support survivors of all trauma, sexual assault, domestic violence, human trafficking, child sexual abuse, all of that crap. All of that crap that goes on in our community, that's what we discuss. That's what we're about. And so I want you to just follow us, join us. You can go to hushnomore.org, find out more information about us, and hopefully we're getting some new family and friends here today. So we're going to talk about today about President Trump's executive orders and how they affect survivors, victims, how they affect victim advocates, advocacy organizations, and even the government as it relates to advocacy like sexual assault, sexual harassment, domestic violence, all of those programs. And so we've had a lot of changes lately. This show is not about bashing President Trump. This show is not about, being mean and nasty. I'm all about love and kindness. And so that is the perspective of this show. Now, some people are not going to like what I say, and it's my opinion, right? So you're not always going to like what I say, but I mean what I say, and I always have some type of evidence to back what I'm talking about. So that's what we're going to do today. Please be respectful when you're sharing your opinion. Feel free to jump in, say what you got to say. How are you affected by the changes? Is it affecting you financially, from services? What is going on? Because we need people to see this and know what is going on in our community and how it is affecting the people. Sometimes the people at the top are not always understanding the repercussions and the effects that it have on the people at the bottom or in the middle, I would say. So please be respectful. To me, it doesn't matter what you are, a Democrat, a Republican, an independent. It doesn't matter to me. I pretty much fly in the middle, right? I go by what's right and what's best for my family. So to me, what you are does not matter. This is going to be a larger platform. So there's going to be people on here that are survivors. Survivors may be triggered. If you are triggered doing this, please get off. You don't have to stay on. Do not torture yourself because you're being triggered. And also remember that triggers are only a way for you to know that you got more work to do. So get some help, get some assistance, talk to somebody. You're not alone. There's a lot of organizations to include Hush No More that can support you through that process. Okay. If you come on here with all that negative stuff, I'm just going to delete your comment and block you from future Hush No Mores because I don't have time for that. And that's not what we do here. We're all about love and kindness and supporting our community. Okay. So with that being said, I encourage you to chat in that box and let me know. I am basing all of this information, right? I'm basing all of this information from our websites that the governments provide. Okay, that is where all of this information is coming from. And so I want y'all to know that. If you want to go and look up the executive orders yourself, you can. I'm going to put it on my screen. You can go and look it up yourself. You must be informed about what is happening and how it is affecting you. This is really affecting a lot of communities. And I'm going to talk about how it is affecting Hush No More, how it's affecting me as a survivor, how I had to talk myself through some things. So this is where you can go and look at the executive order for yourself. Don't listen to the media. Go for yourself and read it and see how it affects you, how it affects your family. Don't assume, right? Don't assume. Make sure you research it. Next, I really hope that you will go and talk to your representative, send messages to your representative, get to know them. You need to know who your local politicians are in your area. You should be having relationships with them to be able to talk about how things are affecting you. And so please, you can reach out. This website will tell you how to find your local representative and what address they have, where they're located at. what's their address in DC and what address they have in your state. So you should be familiar with this, and you definitely need to know your local elections, no, your local politicians, correct me. Also, this is showing you the importance of voting. We must vote. You need to vote for people that align with you and your family and the needs that you have. So those are the biggest concerns that we have, okay? And I will also drop these in the chat for you so that you'll be able to go back and look, but these are it. How do you find your representative? House.gov. They work for us. That's what people forget. I talk to them all the time. I'm at the state house where I live because I advocate hard for survivors because I live in the state of South Carolina, and always our laws do not align with survivors. And so I'm big. That's how we make change, by showing up and letting them know that we count, our numbers count, and our votes count. And so that's how we make a difference. Okay. So we're going to get into this today, and I am so excited. I am welcoming you all to the show. And if you have a comment, I will share your comment up front and pin it so that people can see what you're saying, because I think it's important for us to be able to hear from each other. So this is your chance. If you have a nonprofit, you're not having funding anymore, you have to let go of your building, your staff, this is a time to share it. Let people know, because I don't think people really understand the ramifications of some of these laws. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So let's get into it. So the first one I'm going to talk about is the positive things that President Trump has done. So from my perspective, the things that I really like that he has done is reforming the federal hiring process, restoring merit to government service, presidential action, January 20th, 2025. So this one talks about that the federal government is going to have less than 80 days to complete a hiring action. If any of you have ever applied to the federal government, then you know how long it takes to sometimes to get hired, from the background checks to the qualifications. It could be a long time. Well, this is going to reduce the amount of time that it takes to hire individuals. And I think that is very important, especially when we're hiring victim advocates. We should not have organizations without victim advocates, without sexual assault response coordinators, without program managers for something so serious as sexual assault and domestic violence. Those organizations should be staffed, and it shouldn't take long for them to be able to have to replace somebody. So that one is a good one. And I'm fair. Like, I'm going to tell you like the good things that I like what you did. Unfortunately, that's really the only one that I got to share with y'all. Okay. That's it. I think it's important for us to be able to bring on new victim advocates faster, right? And have an easier process. That way, more people apply and we can get better people on board. Okay, so we're going to talk about defending women from gender ideology, extremism, and restoring biological truth to the federal government. Presidential action, January 20th. Okay. A lot of people did not pay attention to this because they felt like it only affected the LGBTQ community. That's it. That's all they talked about. They didn't want to worry about everything else that it was talking about. But in that executive order, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission enforcement guidance on harassment in the workplace dated April 29, 2024 was rescinded. That includes sexual harassment based on gender, race, religion, disability, creeds. And we know that sexual harassment oftentimes is a precursor to sexual assault. So people are now paying attention to everything that was eradicated in that executive order. So if you've ever been on a job and you've experienced sexual harassment, it is a horrific thing to have to deal with, right? We don't want to have to deal with sexual harassment. We don't want to have to deal with harassment if you are an atheist, right? Because it also covers atheism. And you don't want to have to deal with it if you're a Christian or if you're Jewish. You don't want to have to deal with sexual harassment. You don't want to have to deal with workplace harassment. That actually eliminated that law. And so you got to pay attention to the big title and how they hide things up under that. Okay. That is a big one that is going to affect all of us. I remember sexual harassment being a big thing for me. Now I have my own business, so I don't have to go to work anymore, and I do my nonprofit. But when I'm 18, 19 years old, I didn't know how to deal with sexual harassment. I didn't know how to say something to defend myself. Right? I didn't know what to say. I'm like, I thought you was cool. I thought, that you respected me as another employee or as a soldier because I was in the Army. So this is big, and we really have to pay attention to that. Okay. So the EEOC also has like the laws and the guidance and the enforcement of harassment in the workplace. So y'all can't let that one slide because they really got rid of that. And most people don't even know that it includes that. Okay. The next one. Okay, I got a comment. All right, Nikki. All right. Nikki says she got a nonprofit and she gets grants from the Epilepsy Foundation every year from the CDC. And thanks to the federal funding freeze, that grant won't be getting they won't be getting the grant. I was so excited about that grant this year because it was reaching the kids in schools, elementary to college, especially HBCUs. This grant, we are able to reach so many. So although I know we will get funding, it sucks that it has caused my organization as well as others to rethink how we move this year. Correct. So it didn't just affect sexual harassment, sexual assault. It affected all of our nonprofits, y'all. And I'm going to give you even more proof for that. And so when you have an organization that is staffing employees, that is doing things like epilepsy awareness, that's life or death. Bringing awareness to that, going out and supporting, giving resources to those individuals and those families. So these are major impacts. And Kim, I do hope that you get funding and that you get even more funding and that people come and support you. Kim's organization is Hearty Hands, and it is located in Columbia, South Carolina, but she supports individuals all over the country as it relates to epilepsy, and she's also an epilepsy warrior. So thank you. All right. Ms. Frankisha said, I think that it is so disrespectful to people, and who's going to protect the people? Right. Who is going to protect us if there's no laws in place? I totally agree with you. So thank you for that. All right. Ending radical and wasteful government DEI programs and referencing presidential actions January 20th. Okay. This order talks about equity, right? And the system, having a fair system, and how we're going to support underserved communities. Okay. We all looked at the LGBTQ part, right? We all looked at race, but you did not think about the people with disabilities, right? You didn't think about those. You didn't think about people that are in their religious minorities. It includes that. You didn't think about just how the normal human being will be treated, not just because of race, not because of that, not because of their sexuality, but how will people just be treated? We didn't think about that. What about the people that are not getting services because they live in rural areas? Right. I live in South Carolina. There are a lot of rural areas and we don't even get to all of them, right? It is really hard to support underserved communities. And people look at underserved as just poor. It doesn't mean that they're poor. It means that they also don't have resources in that area. And so the law was supposed to protect those, right, that didn't get the services, that lived in rural areas, to be able to get support. Based on that executive order, they're not going to get that support now. And we're waiting for it to come back. There are systematic barriers to providing services. I can tell you that. There are organizations that will go out to the rural areas, and there are some that do not. I know I have talked to several people who were sexually assaulted and they need to get a sexual assault exam, right? Some people call it a rape kit. Some people call it a SANE kit. And there was no SANE nurse in their area. They have to go to the large city to get a exam. You know how hard that is? That is really hard not to have the services in your area that you so desperately need and that you got to go far to find them. And so we got to think about that. You can't just look at the overall title of these. You got to look at what it is really affecting, what communities it is affecting. If you live in the country, like, wow, I'm in South Carolina, so we say the country. Like, we don't say rural areas. If you're in the country, you really need to pay attention because you are the ones that's going to be affected by laws that does not remove systematic barriers to provide you equal access to benefits, to other opportunities, and that don't even identify you for services. And so that is really big. And I want people to really pay attention to that. Okay. How does it affect sexual assault and domestic violence programs? We don't have a budget. A lot of things are frozen now. They're telling us we might not get a grant. How can we plan to make sure that we're providing you the right services that you need when there is no money available, when we're worried about our grants, when we're worried about if you come to us, will we have funding to be able to support you? That affects a lot of us right now. For us to be able to host events like Sexual Assault Awareness Month is coming up in April. I will tell you a lot of events have been canceled. A lot of city and local governments do not want to support those events because actually they're nervous. They're not sure if they're going to be going against the executive order, right? The Attorney General has sent out a lot of messages to the government in our local states, each attorney general. And so it's difficult right now to see how we can help you. If the government doesn't approve a budget, how can your local organizations approve budgets, right? And this might not be affecting you, but when you look at like your family, your friends, I mean, it's everything, even autism. So it's all of us. It's more than just race. It's more than just gender, right? And there's a lot of people that are not necessarily poor, but they ain't rich. They passing laws that apply to people that don't apply to people that's rich. They got the money to go and get services, right? They got the money to pay for a counselor. They got the money to have health insurance. They have health insurance, or even may not have health insurance, but they could pay for their medical. They could pay for counseling. A lot of people don't. So what are we going to do for those who don't have the funding to be able to do that? And it's not just poor people. That's what get me. It's a lot of people that have really good jobs that don't have health insurance because the job doesn't offer health insurance, right? Or they work 38 hours a week, and so the company says they're not full-time. There's working people that can't necessarily afford it. So don't just look at it as like it's poor people go out and get a job. I'm talking about the people in our country that are working. I'm talking about people that are survivors. I'm talking about the ones who are in domestic violence situations and they can't use their health insurance, because if they use their health insurance, their spouse will know that they reported the incident or will find them, because a lot of people are missing. So I have people that I can't even share information with, doctors and stuff, or have used health insurance or use their real name because of this. So we have to have funding and ways of support. Okay. All right, I got another comment. Kim said, that affects so many is more than just race. It makes me sad and angry because I have been pulling teeth to get adults to share about the epilepsy and it was working. But we now have taken 10 steps back because thanks to those old stigmas, people are again scared of losing their jobs because they have epilepsy or other disabilities they have and can affect them, right? So, or it can affect them. They don't even know, you don't even understand. But if we're not giving out the information, how can people get the support that they need? That is really big. Understanding the laws, understanding the services. Okay. I love that. I think it's important for us to be able to identify that and help. Okay. These are mine that I didn't like, y'all, that I really had a problem with. But when you look at removing systematic barriers, right, and removing all of the information that's talking about DEI programs, and I know y'all just look at race, but one thing you also need to look at is that the laws changed from that executive order. He removed an equity assessment in federal agencies, right? That is big. Who is going to have oversight over individuals, right, who are discriminating against underserved communities, individuals, discriminating against anybody, right? People can have an attitude sometimes and just don't want to hire you. They just hate on you sometimes. Who's going to have oversight on that? That was removed. So you got to pay attention, y'all. Don't let people hoodwink you and tell you what it is about. Go read it for yourself. Okay. Next, implementing the President's Department of Government Cost Efficiency Initiative, Presidential Action, February 26. This covers contracts and grants, like Kim talking about, how we spend money, we get loans, all of that, right? They have ceased that. They have ceased that. The only exception, I'm going to tell y'all the exceptions, is immigration enforcement, law enforcement, the military, public safety, and the intelligence community, and other critical, acute, or emergency spending as determined by the relevant agency head. I personally feel that trauma, right, is a public safety issue. If we're not funding that, if we're not protecting people, that's part of public safety. It's part of public safety. Domestic violence. We have to have those programs, y'all. Taking care of people, taking care of people's health, but they don't look at it that way. So you got to pay attention to when they say something is included. Is it really included? Are you included in what they say is included? Think about that. I think that's important for you to pay attention. Okay. Next, the grant review process. If they seesaw grants and funding, right? People was really having a hard time. Can I renew my lease for my nonprofit, right? I don't know if I'm gonna have money next year. Those type of things. Can I go and actually talk to survivors and do a long-term plan of an escape plan of how they're going to get out of a domestic violence situation? Can I do that for them? Can I say we're going to work on this plan and in 3 months we're going to be able to do this, do this, do this? We can't say that because we don't know. The whole country right now is like, what is this? There is no guidance. There is no like conversation. People confused. Like we don't even know how it applies to us or what it's going to do. All we just be getting is notices, 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 notices. That's not fair to the people. That's not fair for us to be able to provide services. That's not fair to survivors, right? That sucks. It triggers us. If I have people that's in counseling and we're paying for their counseling, can I continue their counseling? We don't know, right? The next one. Oh, Kim says Meals on Wheels. Meals on Wheels. And so it also affects seniors. They're the ones that deliver the food to the people, right? We got to think about that, y'all. It's big. It is really big. So I want y'all to really hone in into what I'm telling you and to really think a little deeper, right? When we're looking at the housing issues and things of that nature, they don't think about the disabled and the seniors. They don't think about those individuals. It's like, we're not going to have housing anymore. We're not going to have government housing. Well, what are those people supposed to do? Where is our heart? Where is the love for just humankind, right? Where are they supposed to go? 80 years old, you can't go get no job, right? And they really want to stop Social Security. They want to stop Medicaid. Like, where are people going to go? So what y'all think about that? All right. Non-essential travel justification. So a lot of agencies, military agencies, have been affected by the travel ban. So that means that they can't go get the training that they need to be able to do their job. So like I love when victim advocates, sexual assault response coordinators, program managers are out there actually going to training and becoming trauma informed and learning how they could support survivors, right? That's their job. You should be able to go to training and get your job. Do we need to review that? Because some people are not always doing what they're supposed to do as it relates to travel in the government. Yeah. And I'm not going to sit here and tell y'all that everything is right in the federal government because it is not. We do need to make some changes, but we need to do it properly. Every leader comes in and they evaluate the current processes and then they make changes. They don't just go in and say, cease, dismiss, and don't worry about the people and the effects of it. You got to think about the effects of every decision that you make. You come in, you do a proper assessment, and then you go in and start making cuts. And you really don't know what's happening down at the lowest level. So you have to get the feedback from the agency heads. The credit card freeze. When you freeze a credit card for the government, you freeze funding, right? You freeze the services that they could provide. You freeze supplies that they can get. It is really detrimental when you freeze funding. And then we already don't have an approved budget. And I don't understand why Congress keeps doing this. That's part of their main job is to make sure that we have an approved budget. So we really operating not on good terms. And people are wondering if they're even going to be furloughed at this point. Okay. The next one, implementing the President's Department of Government Efficiency Workforce Optimization Initiative, Presidential Action, February 11th. Okay. This talks about the hiring ratio and the freeze. There are a lot of people that lost their job that were on probation. There are a lot of people that moved for their job, right? You don't pack your family up, move to this new job, bought you a house, and now you don't have a job no more. And there is no notice. So what are them people doing? Where they going? That is a horrible thing to do to somebody, to give them a short notice and say, oh, you're still on the probation, you're gone. That is ridiculous to do that to people, to not give people amount of time to be able to at least find something else or to do something else. So the hiring freeze has affected a lot of people. It has even affected people that got a promotion. So you've been with the federal government for 14, 15 years. They finally give you a promotion, right? So you're going up to the next level. And now, because I'm on probation again, I don't have a job. That's crazy to do that to somebody. That is not fair. And there are a lot of people that were affected that way. There were a lot of people that was about to get a job and did it, right? I know people that was right there, was supposed to start in the second pay period of January, and they did not get the job because of the hiring freeze, right? And this affects everywhere, right? And I'm going to tell y'all exactly where it's affecting us, right? The VA, they did their press release to say that they have gotten rid of more than 1,000 employees, right? That is a lot of people to get rid of. And what they did not realize is that the Veterans Crisis Hotline, where when we're suicidal, when I was suicidal, I called the Veterans Hotline, and I'm not the only one that called the Veterans Hotline. People from there was actually dismissed as well. So I'm a veteran, and when I look at the VA and all the cuts that they're making, and it's just like swiping, I'm like, at first they didn't even include doctors, right? It didn't include doctors and nurses. What are you doing? I just don't understand. I do not understand. And military.com, they don't mind telling you what's really going on. And they talked about the VA crisis line and those employees being fired. And they actually had interviews with individuals who were in those positions who no longer have the job. Now, do I think that the VA should be revamped? Yes, there are a lot of government agencies that need to be revamped. We should look at all of them, right? We should look at every agency and see. But you can't just go in and cut and just say, I am done. How unfair is that? And so that is what I'm looking at, y'all. I'm really paying attention to what these laws are saying, what the executive orders are saying. And I'm paying attention to the people that's sitting up there and they don't say nothing. They don't really talk about it. It's like we voted for you in and you supposed to be up there representing us, but you're not saying nothing. I don't understand that for the life of me. I would tell you, and I'm gonna give her a shout out because she is bomb dignity. Senator Tamika Isaac Devine is here in South Carolina. She is amazing, and she has been speaking out. Now, can she really make a lot of change? No, because in our state, the Republicans run the House, so it's really hard when one party is greater than the other, right? But she makes change by getting out there with the people, talking to the people, sharing information on her Facebook page about what's going on behind those doors. And so I appreciate that. I follow her because of that, because she tells us what's going on and she's speaking up for the people. So that is facts about Tamika Isaac Devine. All right. Dr. Alicia Harris. Hello, beautiful. I just watched a video about Virginia VA employees who showed up to work and were locked out of their systems and did not know that they had been terminated. When they called the help desk, they were told that they have been locked out and terminated. Once one lady stated that she did not know how to apply for unemployment since they have been given no written documentation regarding termination. That one's rough. And people will be like, go get unemployment. If you've always had a job, I've never collected unemployment. I always had a job. Like, how do you know that? Like, you don't know how to do that, right? And then what if two people are government employees, right? I have a friend that one is a government employee and one is the executive director of a nonprofit. Both of them are struggling financially now. The government employee lost his job, and then the funding for her nonprofit has ceased. That is horrible. That is two people in one household, and they have kids. So thank you, Alicia, for sharing that. It is really hard and difficult for us to see that. And it's difficult, right? Sad. Frankisha said it's sad when you have to work hard for your position. It do. It's sad. We work hard and then you ain't do nothing wrong, but you no longer have a job. That's crazy to me, right? That is crazy. All right. Dr. Alicia, I'm so sorry to hear this. It is hard, right? It is really hard to be able to talk about this, but we have to speak up. Y'all have to say something. That's going to be my call to action tonight. You know, we really have to do that. So, Dr. Harris, you're good. Thank you for thanking me for sharing the space. That means a lot to me, because I would tell y'all, some people told me I shouldn't talk about it. I was like, I don't know who they think I am, because I'm gonna talk about it. And especially as a survivor, like, it worries me, it triggers me that some services may not be available to somebody that's sexually assaulted. And yet they're gonna say, oh, we're still providing services. For how long? And what services are you really providing? Right? We got to take a look at that. Kim said during the entire election, Biden and Harris both pointed out that he had no plan to back up all the things he wanted to do, all the cuts he wanted to make. They asked him, well, what are you going to implement in place of this? And he said nothing. He just gaslit everything. Well, right now, we're seeing nothing in place. Right? We see nothing in place. So that is a good question. Alicia said, we came into work, we were locked out and was told we had 48 hours to return equipment and how to collect unemployment. Dang, Alicia, that's rough, right? That's rough. That's rough for you and your family. That is big. And at the end, I'm really going to pray for everybody that really is affected. And I ask y'all to pray too, because this is big. And contact me afterwards. Text me. You know you got my number so that we could talk about it, because that is crazy. That is really crazy. Okay. Tamika Ozzy Divine is awesome. She is boots on the ground. Yes, Senator Divine is awesome. I am not promoting her from a nonprofit standpoint. Y'all could say that, and I ain't doing that. But what I am doing is telling you what she do in our community, in our state. She is bomb. Silencia, what people also don't realize as well is that it all trickles down. So even if you're not directly affected at this time, doesn't mean that you're safe. It does not. Food prices go up, right? Everything go up. We hear inflation, housing goes up. We have so many problems. We're going to have a shortage of housing, right? Because people are going to have to find somewhere to live if HUD goes down. If HUD is gone, we're going to have a problem, because where are people going to go, right? And how much notice are they going to have? Is there a plan in place? So having a real plan is important. And don't think that it's not affecting you today, right? Don't think it's not affecting you today, that it can't be you tomorrow. Because I will tell you, a lot of people are like 2-3 steps from homelessness. A lot of people are living above their means. And so how are we going to really combat that? Okay. Oh, Alicia, they don't know me well. People don't know that I'm a talk, right? I'm going to say what I gotta say. And I'm always going to be standing up for survivors, standing up for victims, standing up for organizations that are doing some amazing work. So no, they don't know me. Rebecca, thank you about the space. I think it's important for people to be able to come forward and share how they feel and what they got to say. And maybe people will pay attention to us. I don't know. Share the live. Let people know what we talking about and let them be able to comment, and I appreciate that all of you have positive comments. You really are sharing from a place of love and kindness and not being rude and disrespectful, because I don't tolerate that either. But I will tell you that I stand up for right. I stand up for survivors, no matter what trauma you have been through. And when we look around, somebody next to you done been through some type of trauma, where they was molested as a child, it was incest, human trafficking, right? It could be sexual harassment, and sexual harassment really do causes trauma, and people do not pay attention to that. But I've had people that had entire breakdowns because they were sexually harassed so bad, or they were sexually harassed by somebody and then they were sexually assaulted. It is crazy. And so it's real, and we do have to pay attention to what people are going through. Hello, Miss Gail. She said, "Thank you, Dr. Vanessa. The U.S. budget cannot be balanced in 4 years. It took many years to blow it up. It's horrible." So it's like we just like on a standstill. So you are right. It takes time. So they're like, "Oh, it's going to be 90 days. Oh, 90 days? How you going to really fix stuff in 90 days? And are you going to bring people back that you erroneously fired? Or are you going to bring people back that we need?" Right? You releasing a newly hired victim advocate. Obviously, we needed that victim advocate. The sexual assault program is not one of them programs that is overfunded and overstaffed. The only way you think that is normally if you are an abuser. And I would tell you that. I know a lot of abusers that don't like the work that I do. They come and they try to attack it. They come on our events and try to they come. I have, this is the honest God truth. My website has been hacked 2 times already this year. I hope they give up trying, but I done changed that password again. But people don't like it. And a lot of times it's because they're the abusers. You have to think about what people are saying and why they're saying the things that they're saying instead of supporting the people. Why? Why are you doing that? Right? And I'm talking to y'all from a place of, I'm not considered poor. I am a middle income family, right? But I still care about other people, and things are affecting me as well, right? It's affecting me from the nonprofit side. So we have to look at it from that place. Dr. Harris, these decisions have such a rippling effect on all areas of life: loss of job, insurance, possibility to increase crime, the lack of funding for nonprofits that do advocacy on issues such as domestic violence and sexual assault. It is believed that we will not know just how much this impact will have for years, just like the COVID pandemic. Exactly. And then I don't even believe that they're going to give us the right numbers, right? I don't even believe that they're going to say this was the major impact of us being on a freeze, on a hold, of us not having funding. Like, who's really going to do that research to be able to tell? And some people in government agencies are not going to tell the truth. They protecting their job, they're protecting their image, so they're not going to say anything. Silencia is praying for everyone, and I ask that y'all all do the same. Pray in your faith because we need some help right now. Okay. Alicia says she playing the pray. Um, and your Zoom was hacked. Yeah, they hacked my Zoom, Kim. Yeah, epilepsy gets hacked all the time, and we ain't shutting up. Like sometimes y'all don't realize it, but and we are warriors. Epilepsy survivors are purple warriors, and we don't shut up. But y'all don't even realize sometimes that we are under attack, that people don't like the things that we say, and they don't like when we're supporting survivors. I am very cautious when I'm helping somebody that is a survivor of or victim of domestic violence because it's a safety issue. So when we're doing human trafficking, it's a safety issue. A lot of these organizations are not necessarily safe, and so we have to pay attention to that. Okay. No one funding is being cut for no, right. No one is exempt from this because funding is being cut for research, and we need research, right? We need researchers to come out and do this, and it really is hard for me to talk about this because it hurts when you talk to people and hear what they're going through. It really hurts. And so for me, how I work through any type of trauma, any type of triggers, I do something about it. And this is my way of doing something about it, is bringing it to the forefront, having the hard discussion and saying that this is happening. Okay. And so I encourage all of you to do the same, that you make sure that you talk about it, that you help organizations in your community, that you raise awareness, because we do need that information. Okay. We do. And I love all of you that have came on and to share. Some people talk to me offline because they didn't feel comfortable sharing because essentially it's their job, right? And so they can't talk about it. They still work for the federal government and they're still struggling. And so we got to talk about it and really show up when we can, show up true, right? Show up authentic and show up for other people. And so that's what I urge you to do. And it's a big deal, y'all. You cannot let social media, you cannot let the news media tell you what's going on. Anytime something come out, y'all go out there and read it for yourself. Because when I was sitting there reading last night, me and my best friend Angie, we was going over and everything and kind of dissecting it. And I was like, girl, I'm getting mad. I had to step away when I started realizing and I didn't talk about all the executive orders, right? I didn't talk about all of them. But these are the ones that really stimulated me, really frustrated me, that I felt like there was things that was going on that y'all are not really paying attention to or not aware of. And some of you are paying attention to it. And I honor you for bringing that to the forefront and talking about these issues. It's not about what party you belongs to. It's about people. At the end of the day, it's about love and kindness and supporting each other. Right. And I'm not talking about people that don't have a job. Y'all always want to bring up people that live in the projects, that live in government housing. You always want to talk about them. This is not just affecting them, y'all. This is affecting the middle class families in our communities. Pay attention. Pay attention to who it's affecting. Okay. Don't just assume. Don't assume. All right. And I love y'all for sharing your comments, for actually jumping on and for talking about it. Right. And even if you looking at the podcast in a recording state, I urge you to share a comment. If you're on Spotify, I urge you to share a comment up on our Spotify page, review the page. If you're on CTR Media Network, that's where our podcast streams live. It's on CTR Media Network. Check out their podcast because everyone in their podcast are dope, giving out really good information, and there's no negativity. I don't like negativity at all, right? I don't do negative energy. So check out CTR Media Network. They are a major sponsor of Hush No More, and that is their website, ctrmedianetwork.com, and check them out, and Dr. Tina as well. But that's what we're dealing with, y'all. So I really need y'all to pay attention, right? And I have a call to action for you. I really do, because I want y'all to know like how big this is. My call to action. And when somebody has a call to action, this is something that they're asking you to do, to stand up for. Man, y'all gotta vote. Even if you think your vote don't count, you gotta vote. You gotta vote. You gotta vote in your local elections because that is where the main problem is. People come out for the presidential election, but they do not come out for their local elections. I vote in my county elections. I vote in my state elections. I can't vote for the city because I live in a county. I don't live in the city. But if I lived in the city, I would vote for city, right? And I make sure that I'm seen and I'm heard and I'm supporting those that support survivors. That's what I do, right? Next, find who your representative is. Take the time, send them a message, send them a letter, right? Show up, ask to have an appointment. They work for us. That's what people forget. Some people are really nervous about reaching out to those that are in office. They are our representation. Now, will they always meet with you? No, they not. They not always gonna meet with you. But I tell you one thing: when I'm at events, I'll be getting to talk to them. But a lot of them, especially your local elected officials, will meet with you. You go in there with a plan of action. You go in there and talk about your concerns, be able to back it up with proof, and don't use emotion, but use a strategy. I do everything from a strategic standpoint, not from emotions and not from a place of woe is me as a victim. Now, that is just Vanessa, right? That is the strategy that I have. You got to attend the meetings and know what's going on. Some of y'all don't know. Become informed. Next, support organizations. You don't have to give money, but if you do donate money, that is a blessing because y'all all know all of these fundings are being stopped. So if you got a cause, if you want to support breast cancer, then you should be supporting a breast cancer organization and send them $5, $2. It all adds up. But all of our organizations are struggling right now. But you don't have to always give funding. You could share their posts. You can volunteer. Volunteering with a nonprofit organization is priceless. Don't just come to me whenever you done got in trouble, right? I don't mind helping you to be able to do your community service letter because you done got in trouble. I got you. But come to me also to make a difference in your community. We have a lot of events that you can actually support. So volunteer in your community. Do something to make you feel good. If you're in an organization, I'm an Eastern Star. If you're a Mason, if you're a Delta, AK, if you have like organizations, right? Won't you go out and support nonprofit organizations? I want to see you in the community. I don't want to just see your pictures when y'all have a gala, right? I see that all up and down my timeline, but I want to see your community service pictures. That's what I want to see. Okay. That's what I want to see. And that's just Vanessa. Okay. You can also make your own posts. You can say how you feel about it, back it up with evidence. But you can do something just in your own little lane. Everybody not a Dr. Vanessa and talk in a public platform or go on speaking engagements around the world. Everybody don't do that. But you could do something in your area. You can help a survivor. You could love on them. You could support them. That is really big. And it doesn't matter what type of cause. If you like the Humane Society, support the Humane Society because they missing funding too. Okay. They're missing funding as well. So that's my call to action to you. Vote, find your representative, attend your local and state meetings, become informed, support organizations by sharing their posts, donating, volunteering, and make your own posts. Share your own opinion. Stand up and help people. All right. That's my little spiel right there, y'all. So Kim, she said, this is our storm, y'all, but with all storms, they will pass. We just have to stay prayed up. Never give up. Know who is really running things, which is God. And most importantly, keep fighting. This is a battle we're all in. And I totally agree. I have pivoted. I had to make changes in my business, right? And I'm doing different things in my business because I also have a consulting business where I do a lot of training around the world on the hush topics as well. And so that is not happening right now. So I'm pivoting. Like we all have to pivot. We all seeing some change. But I am not going to be like, oh my God, woe is me, and not be able to move. I'm going to be creative. And I encourage you to all do the same. Okay. I will post it in the comments. I will. Voting for the governor is very important. Yes. 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 Voting for you, and don't just go in there, y'all, and just pick somebody. Don't just straight ticket vote. I mean, if your state allows you to actually if your state allows you to vote not straight ticket, but allow you to cross party lines, please do so. When I go away now, I don't just vote for everybody because they're a Democrat or because they're Republican. You believe that. My state doesn't allow independent. I really feel like I'm an independent. We don't have that here. I do not go in there and straight ticket vote. If I don't know who they are, I don't click them. And I don't click them if I know some of the things that they do that do not support survivors. I even go and look and see how they voted on certain actions. If you didn't vote to support survivors of domestic violence in my state, I'm not voting for you again. I go look and see how they vote. I don't look at just what they say. I look at what they do. Okay. And that's really, really important. We got to vote anyway. And it's priceless because we always looking for assistance. We are always looking for assistance. So it's important that we show up and support everybody. Okay. And that's my charge to y'all. That is my charge. It's for you to really go and find out what is going on, how it's affecting people. If you have a neighbor that has lost their job, don't be saying, oh, they work for the federal government, they got it. It's a lot of people that don't have it. Just because you work for the federal government. If you live in the DMV area, DC, Maryland, and Virginia, you pay a lot for mortgage and rent. And to lose your job is detrimental, right? Just because somebody made $100,000 a year doesn't mean that they won't have a struggle either, y'all. You got to pay attention to that, okay? Pay attention to that. And that is what all I got to say. I just asked President Trump to really pay attention to the effects that it's having on the people, okay? And not to just say they'll be all right. We couldn't, and we looking at government spending, and we finna make major changes. Yeah, changes need to be made. Changes need to be made. I agree. But we also got to think about how that affects the people. And I'm really grateful for all of y'all that came on, those that support Hush No More, those that I've never met before, that you're here today. That makes me feel really good. And we can make change. I believe we change the world through love and kindness. Okay. That is how we change the world. If you would like to volunteer, support Hush No More, know more about Hush No More, you can go to hushnomore.org. Our number is 1-888-285-2161. You can reach out to us. We're always doing amazing things in our community, trying to show love. I always say, Hush No More, we be in these streets. That's what we do. If you're in South Carolina, we have Stump Out Crime, which is a day of giving in our community on April the 12th. We partnered with Rediscover Me, Restoration and Purpose, Visions of Women, Mr. Gant Organization, Project Jasmine, Hearty Hands, which is Kim. And we give out amazing things. We give out brand new clothes donated by Walmart, Persona, Cato's, Is Fashion. Michael Dry Cleaners donate all their dry clean clothes that people do not come and get. We're going to be giving that out on April the 12th at the Columbia Place Mall off of Decker in Two Notch. So come out, y'all. If you have something that you want to give, or you're a nonprofit organization and you want to promote, come out. Everything is free. We give it away, like just giving it just to bless God's people. Because I believe when you give away, one, we get blessings, and two, that's how people feel more comfortable about coming forward to your organization, when they could trust you and know that you're giving. Next, April 17th, right? We have Your Voices Matter. I am looking for poets and artists. Hilo Art is sponsoring that with us. So we're going to have performers that night at my house. My house is dope. They're allowing us to use it for free. It's on Two Notch Road. Bugsy Calhoun, Boogie, and Rashawn Lagarde are going to be in the house. Boogie and Bugsy are going to be our host. And Rashawn is coming all the way from Ohio. His name is Rashawn Lagarde, and I'm really proud of him. He's coming down from Ohio to set the house on fire. So if you are in Columbia, come check us out. It's a fundraiser for us. It'd be $5 at the door, and all money goes to support survivors of sexual assault, because that is April, right? And then October 18th, we already got it going on. We are looking for individuals to support our domestic violence walk. Would love for you to come. The town of Irmo is our major sponsor. They allow us to use the park for free. They support us. They are amazing. And so I ask you to come out and just come to events. If you're not in the area, look around, because there's a lot of events going on, especially in April. That is Child Sexual Abuse Month. That's Autism Awareness Month. That's the month of the military child. and Sexual Assault Awareness Month. So there's a lot going on. And if you have kids, your kids need to be at these events too, because how can you prevent something from happening to you if you don't know what it is? Okay. So I really, really want you all to show up, show out, do big things in your community, love on people. If you know they're going through some things, cook a dinner. I don't cook. I love when people make meals for me. I got a couple of neighbors that they be like, Vanessa, I cooked. Did you eat? I love them, right? So do something nice for people, especially if you know that they're struggling right now, or if they've lost their job, or if they're unsure. Listen to people, love on them. That's my charge to y'all. Okay. So some of y'all are congratulating me. I thank you, Cynthia. But guess what? Your organization, Divine, I'm so glad you posted it. Divine Women's Foundation is phenomenal. Phenomenal, y'all. Check her out. She does a lot of work with teen girls, domestic violence, teen mothers. So, like, those are the organizations that's being affected, y'all. And so we have to be able to support, right? How do we reduce um, how do we reduce teen pregnancy? By getting out there, raising awareness and showing love and kindness to them girls and talking to them and then talking to the boys, right? I had my daughter when I was 18. When nobody talking to me, they was telling me don't have sex. Well, when nobody giving me no real good conversations surrounding teen pregnancy. So those are the type of things that organizations do. Okay. Shania, Rashawn is amazing, and I'm so glad that he's coming. And if you're in Georgia, so you can come and check him out too, because that's probably going to be the closest he'll be to you for a while. But we're just trying to have fun. Hush No More has amazing events, because I don't think that advocacy should be sad. I think it should be informative. It should be loving, and it could be fun. We don't have to sit there and talk about who was sexually assaulted. Nobody want to talk about that. I don't talk about stats. If it happens to one, it happens to many. That ain't what we do. So I gave y'all my call to action. I got one more thing to tell you all before I leave. I always talk about GIVE. That is the acronym that I use, because there's so many people that's going through. If somebody come and talk to you and they decide that you are the most amazing person in the world, and that they want to tell you that they've been sexually assaulted, they've been in a domestic violence relationship, they experienced childhood sexual abuse, and they're having triggers, and they're struggling right now, or they just suicidal, whatever they got going on, right? Nobody teaches us how to be there for them. And so I ask that you use the acronym GIVE. G stands for be gentle. It is really hard to come and tell you personal business. Now, through Hush No More, I tell y'all all my business, right? I be telling y'all all my business. But a lot of people can't. So if they choose you, you need to be gentle with them. Like, it's really a big deal for you to just be gentle and soft with them, and not like, well, if it was me, I'll leave. I wouldn't be in no domestic violence situation. I wouldn't let nobody beat me. Like, what? Like, that's not the things that you say. Okay. Give, be gentle. Be interested. Don't be sitting on your cell phone talking on your watch and acting like you don't have time for people, because you want people to have time for you. It's very important that you're interested in a conversation, because they'll just shut down and they won't ever tell nobody else. V, validate them. Validation doesn't mean that you believe them, and it ain't your place to believe them or not. Validating them means how they feel today is how they feel. If they feel like today is the worst day of their life, it's the worst day of their life. If they feel like they are suicidal, they probably are suicidal. So let's work that out, right? They probably feel like they don't want to live anymore. That is a way that people express themselves. But we're going to work through this, and I'm going to get you the support that you need. But how they feel is how they feel, right? I had somebody say that girl was crazy. She wasn't crazy. She was going through some things, and you just didn't understand what she was going through. All right. The next is E. I love E because that's encourage, empower, elevate, making sure that people feel good, right? When you say something, it should be encouraging, not what you would have did, how you would have did it different, and giving them like, I would do this. No, 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 no. I always tell people when they come to talk to me, I say, I honor you in this moment. Thank you for sharing with me. That's the first thing I say when I talk to people. I'm like, I honor you, because they didn't have to tell me. They didn't have to decide to hush no more. And so I make sure that I say something encouraging. I got your back. I'm here. Thank you for sharing with me today. Right? Thank you. You can offer soft suggestions. Do you need to go to the police? Do you want me to go with you? Do you want me to help you find resources? Did you want me to get in contact with somebody for you? How can I support you? And you know what? They may say, I don't want to do nothing, and that's their choice. You love them through it. I'm here for you. I talk to people every day that don't want to go to the police, that don't want to file an official report. They just wanted somebody to tell it to. And then I hope that they eventually get help. I know a good counselor. I know a good organization. So give, be gentle. I, interested in the conversation. V, validate them. E, encourage, empower, elevate them the best way that you can, and give them soft suggestions and let them know how much you love them and how much you honor them and you appreciate them. And that is how we change the world. And so I thank y'all for joining us tonight. We are here every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for season 3. And next week, I am going to talk about R. Kelly, because some of y'all ain't really been talking about it, or I ain't never shared what I had to say. I got a lot to say. Alicia said, adequate empowerment nonprofit organization provides scholarships for women. Drop the link to Alicia so that people can know more about your organization. And yes, thank you for typing it. Give is give. You want to be gentle. So it's actually gentle, interested, validate, encourage, empower, and elevate. Okay, so that's what we want to do. And we want to be able to support each other. So the next 3 episodes is going to be me. I'm not going to have any guests on until April. So next week, I'm going to talk about R. Kelly and the effects of sexual assault, child sexual abuse, and all of that, and what I feel and what I think. Y'all could disagree with me. I don't care. That's how I feel, and that's what it's about. And then the next one, I'm going to talk about P. Diddy. I have not been sharing my voice. I have not been coming forward and talking to you about some things that's going on in this world, organizations, and country that is crazy. But that's what you about to get on season 3. That's why we changed from Hush No More Champions to Hush No More with Dr. Vanessa. Because I'm going to tell y'all about this crap, because it's crazy what people are going through. Once again, I want to shout out CTR Media Network. We're on their streaming services, and it is so good to be on TV, y'all. So we are on TV. Thank you, Dr. Tina, for just supporting us and being a major sponsor of Hush No More and doing a lot of our recording services, and also for Stomp Out Crowd. Y'all, she's amazing. I support those that support me. Believe that. You support me, I got your back. And that's about it. So I'm going to put up one more time where you can go look at President Trump's executive order. That is the website. And I also dropped the website in the comments. So please go and get some support and let us know. Yeah, Chanel says she's not missing that. I'm about to be talking. I got a lot to say. And I love for y'all to come on and say what y'all got to say too. Hey, Joe. And Freddie says Social Security update on YouTube. Ed Wires currently is the Social Security Administration. If this affects you, please check that out. Please check out what's going on with Social Security. You got to follow it, especially if it affects you, your children, your family. You got to pay attention. So thank you, Freddie. Y'all, Freddie is my dad. That's my dad popping in and supporting me. And I'll tell you, you come to a Hush No More event, you gonna see my family, because my mama, my daddy, my sisters, my kids, I work them hard. Even my grandbaby be out there. I work them hard, but we do some good work in this community. And I got cousins too that come. So it's a family thing. Thank you, Daddy, for supporting. It means a lot. So I'm here, y'all. If y'all need any support, have any questions, reach out to us, hushnomore.org. You can always message us on Hush No More. It's Hush No More Movement on Facebook, and it is Hush No More Now on Instagram, and it's Hush No More with Dr. Vanessa on YouTube. So I would love to hear from you all. Support where you can, support survivors, and know that you are loved and that we are responsible for sharing love and kindness, because that's how we change the world. Peace and blessings to you all. And I look forward to meeting those who I have never met before. Peace.